Pragya Yoga for Happy and Healthy Life. Pandit Shri Ram Sharma Acharya. English translation of Pragya Abhiyan Ka Yog Vyayam. Revised edition, 2014. Editor, Dr. Pranav Pandya. ISBN 8182550270. Published by Ved Mata Gayatri Trust, TMD. Shri Rampuram, Gayatri Nagar, Shantikunj Haridwar 249411. Uttarakhand, India. Email shantikunj@awgp.org. Website www.awgp.org. Preface. Our sagacious ancestors of the Vedic age had gifted us with precious heritage of the yoga science of well-being. However, with changing civilizations and attitudes towards life, in the course of time, people largely became materialistic and ignored the ancient sciences. Subsequent single-tracked commercialized civilization and inclination towards bodily comforts and sensual pleasures has raised several problems in the present times. One is so busy making money and seeking more and more comforts that one tends to neglect the fact that the mind-body system is also like a machine, which needs careful maintenance and recharging of its components and power units. As a result, one is facing unprecedented threats and challenges on the health front. Preventive measures and augmentation of stamina and resistance are crucial if one wants to sustain a healthy and hearty life. Revival of sound practice of yoga therefore assumes greater relevance and importance today than ever before. This book introduces the real meaning and scope of yoga and presents a new method of practicing it for strengthening and rejuvenation of body and mind. The method named Pragya Yoga is fast and feasible, yet comprehensive in effect. It can be practiced by people of all age groups without any cost or time constraints. Dr. Pranav Pandya, MD. Contents. Chapter 1. Adept Approach to Yoga. Chapter 2. Importance of Physical Exercises. Chapter 3. Conditioning exercises for people of all age groups. Chapter 4. Sequence of asana in Pragya Yoga. Chapter 5. Pranayama prescribed in Pragya Yoga. Chapter 6. Desired disciplines and precautions. Chapter 7. Drink water, be healthy. Chapter 8. Health awareness movement for benefits of the masses. Chapter 9. Training courses at Shantikunj, Haridwar. Chapter 1. Adept approach to yoga. Healthy and happy life is the most sought of goal of everyone. Whatever be one's socio-economic status and occupation, one always aspires to have healthy and joyful life. But one should also remember that vigor and happiness are interwoven with physical, mental and emotional well-being. Those who give importance only to physical fitness cannot sustain good health unless they are mentally and emotionally fine. This is fact emphasized in the ancient Indian texts and is reflected in the holistic way of life guided there. The modern science of medicine has also recognized the importance of mental and emotional fitness in healthy and hearty life, and therefore the causes and remedies of many diseases and disorders are searched in the patient's psychology these days. The Indian sages of Vedic times, the Rishis, had discovered the super science of yoga and thereby guided practical ways for accomplishing complete well-being. The Rishis had devised methods to awaken the unlimited powers, potentials, of human life by means of yoga. The experimental science of yoga, as developed by the revered Rishi Patanjali, is known as Ashtanga Yoga. Though yoga has become a familiar term across the globe and plethora of so-called yoga schools are flourishing these days, people at large are ignorant of the real meaning and purpose of yoga. They regard it as a package of physical exercises alone. No doubt, the physical exercises asana derived from the Ashtanga Yoga are most natural and effective means of physical fitness, but its domain is not confined to these. In fact, it encompasses all aspects of life. What makes the real difference and bestows great benefits is to practice the asana along with understanding the basic philosophy of yoga while also attempting to adopt it in action. The word meaning of yoga is union, addition. It has originated in spiritual context and implies the union of individual self with the absolute, eternal self. In simple terms, the philosophy of yoga teaches us that a life when lived as per the will and disciplines of the Supreme Creator becomes a life united with His supreme powers. The Ashtanga Yoga has 8 Ast components and sincere adoption of which accomplishes health, vigor and joy in life and leads to its divine evolution. These components are termed Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. The first 4 have direct bearing upon physical and mental health. The later successively pertain to emotional transmutation and spiritual upliftment. The seekers of ultimate ascent of happy and hearty life are required to successfully traverse the 8 phases of Ashtanga Yoga. The details of these with practical guidance can be found in comprehensive texts and commentaries on Patanjali Yoga. The book, Patanjali Yoga Darshan, published by Shantikunj Haridwar, is especially suited for present-day readers. It is also recommended for beginners who want to have a thorough but lucid illustration on this discipline of deeper knowledge. Those desirous of physical and mental health alone should also note that adoption of the disciplines of Yam and Niyam is a prerequisite for most fruitful results of their endeavors of the physical and breathing exercises of Asana and Pranayam. The disciplines of Yam include Satya, truthfulness, Ahimsa, non-violence, Brahmacharya, chastity of body and mind, Asteya, restraint from stealing or craving for others' belongings, Aparigraha, austerity, avoidance of materialistic accumulation. Niyam incorporates Shrauch, purity and cleanliness of mind, body and surroundings, Tap, penance and self-discipline for self-refinement, Swadhyaya, self-study and self-development in the light of elevated thoughts, Santosh, contentment, Ishwar Pranidhan, devotion to divinity. Neglect of Yam Niyam and adoption of a conduct contrary to these triggers untoward accumulation in the inner spirit and gives rise to hidden psychological complexities. This negative development hampers health and happiness in several ways and results in acute problems in the long run. The importance of disciplined routine and righteous conduct for vigor and vitality is also highlighted in the Holy Gita, chapter 6, shloka 17. Yuktahar viharasya, yuktacheshtsya karmasu, yuktasvapnavabodhasya, yogo bhavati dukha, meaning, adoption of ahar, air, water, food intakes, vihar, chores especially those pertaining to nature's direct effects, cheshta, determined attempts, and karma, actions, as prescribed in the science of yoga eliminates all pains and worries. Ahara, being the key source of nourishment and strength of the body, is given importance in health sciences. As per the ancient texts, the intrinsic natural property gun of the food exerts corresponding impression on the mind too. Therefore, the yoga science gives prime attention to what and how one should eat. It prescribes Satoguni Ahar, see Ayurveda and Yoga scriptures for details. In simple terms, fresh seasonal fruits and vegetables, sprouted grains and easy to digest fresh cooked food prepared from cereals and pulses naturally available in the present season are best if eaten without deep frying and sans spices and sweetening. Weather changes with season. The degree and nature of this variation depends upon the climate. Vihara, lifestyle including clothing and timings of daily chores, especially the timings of food intake, stroll etc., should be adjusted as per the prevailing weather to minimize the negative effects of excess heat, cold or rains etc. and maximize the benefits, for example, walk on fresh dew in spring, exposure to the mild sunlight in winter, etc. Cheshta and karma should be aimed at benevolent goals and should be attempted using wisdom. Even the daily practice of physical exercises should be done with due punctuality, alacrity and thoroughness. For example, One should not take a shortcut to practicing some shoulder exercises while walking. Sleeping and waking up are also important actions. There should be good balance of rest and mental and physical activity every day. While going to bed, one should let his mind free of all tensions and feel as though it's the end of one life. The next day would bring new life, which should begin with new hope and determination. One should wake up with new energy and light and plan for better management of the day ahead. The resolutions for the day should be doable and must incorporate improvement in some respect so that the mistakes of the past are not recurred and the thoughts and actions today are modified. Well-being of the masses and dissemination of divine cultural values along with social development are principal objectives of the Yug Nirman mission of the all-world Gayatri Parivar. Its multifaceted reformatory and reconstructive activities are initiated by revered Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya, a sage of the present age who pioneered spirituality as an art of living, and propounded thought revolution and revival of the Rishi culture in new scientific light. As a first step towards uplifting the physical and mental health of the masses, he had presented a stream of yoga, which is simple and suitable for the masses today. This is referred as Pragya Yoga, Shantikunj and Aranyak of our times, which is situated in the lap of the holy Ganga and under the pristine shadows of the Himalaya is a center for training of Pragya Yoga. This yoga aims for healthy tuning of all the three bodies, physical, subtle and causal, of a person. The asana rejuvenate the physical body and pranayam, breath control exercises, elevate bioenergy and help cleansing and calming the mind, and chanting of mantra in the heart helps augment inner strength. Pragya Yoga is a combination of all three incorporating selected asana and pranayam with chants of mantras. Several of the sagacious writings of Acharya Ji offer lucid guidance on how to adopt Yam Niyam in today's life. Comprehensive personality development and spiritual refinement courses and sadhana camps organized at Shantikunj Haridwar on regular basis provide the necessary support, inspiration and practical training. See last section of chapter 8 for necessary information. This small book introduces the asana and pranayam incorporated in Pragya Yoga. Chapter 2. Importance of physical exercises. A disciplined lifestyle with incorporation of regular physical exercises is as essential for good physical health as a balanced, nourishing diet. Those who live a comfortable life with abundance of healthy and tasty food and resources of pleasure are seen suffering from many kinds of weaknesses and ailments of the body if they do not exert adequate physical labor. Our body is like a huge factory in which several processes of production, supply, distribution and consumption of vital elements continue all the time. There is also an accumulation of wastes and byproducts of its internal reactions and of external pollutants and invading organisms and chemicals. There also take place damages and destructions, rectification of which requires extra support in addition to the natural physiological, cellular and molecular mechanisms. Physical exercises help cleansing of the dirt and toxics deposited in various forms and energizing all components of the body, appropriating blood circulation and supply of vital elements to different organs. The defense and repair mechanism of the body are also strengthened by specific physical exercises. People often get confused as to which physical exercises are best. So many techniques, schools and teachers are there these days that at times it appears to have become a fashionable profession. Good number of aerobics clubs, gymnasiums and yoga centers are there in metro cities. Swimming pools and joggers parks also available there, as jogging, brisk walks and swimming provide whole body exercise in normal case. But most of these usually charge fat fees for membership and could be attended only in allocated time slots. So only the financially well-offs can afford these. But even among them, those having irregular work schedules and busy routines often find it difficult to manage the distances and fixed time schedules of such courses. The middle and lower economic classes and those living in smaller towns are deprived of such facilities. Though open space is available in the small towns and villages, usually there is practically no suitably smooth and clean track there for refreshing walk or jog. Then what should most people do for physical fitness? The generous attempts of some yoga gurus is certainly of great help that they allow live telecast of their mass camps so that one can save the cost of physically attending their camps and yet learn the yoga exercises taught by them. However, this also has several limitations. People may not have televisions or access to carefully watch the telecast of such sessions regularly due to problems of electricity power cuts and or pressure of others around them to watch some other programs, TV channels at that time. Moreover, it is risky too, as one would not get an opportunity of live training in the presence of an expert teachers, who can guide on intricacies of practicing specific asana, as per one's physical health and in view of the constraints of one's weaknesses, ailments, if any. Same is true of the standard yoga books. They describe so many asana and pranayam practicing, all of which is not possible for most people in today's lifestyle because of time constraints, as not only the number of commonly taught asana is large, but also due to the fact that many of these require relaxation, shitilikaran, in between or between two asana. Practicing arbitrarily selected asana in random order of sequence might lead to negative effects. For example, if one practices only some forward bending asana to get rid of his tummy or to slim her waist, she may suffer problems like spondylitis after few weeks or months. Keeping the above-mentioned constraints and practical difficulties in mind and considering the common causes of health hazards these days, Gurudev Pandit Sri Ram Sharma Acharya had formulated the Pragya Yoga, which incorporates only few yogasana and kriya that are easy to practice in feasible time and space and which are very effective as preventive measures and as means of regaining or sustaining physical fitness in present times. These include the essential and harmless exercises of Pavan Muktasana that strengthen the muscles and bone joints and give them desired flexibility.
Chapter 3. Conditioning exercises for people of all age groups. Before starting any yoga, one needs to warm up the body and eliminate the stiffness of the muscles. Gati Yoga and Angmardan are best for this purpose. 3.1 Gati Yoga. Step 1. Standing at one place, move your legs and hands as though you are running without shifting from that place. Do it for 2 to 5 minutes. Step 2. Slowly jump on the toes without shifting from the place you were standing. Step 3. Stand straight for few seconds. Then jump up slightly and spread both the legs. Distance between the feet should be about 10 to 12 inches. Then spread both the arms sideways. Keep them straight at the level of the shoulders. After few seconds, bring the hands back to normal position. Jump and join the legs to stand in the posture of attention. Repeat this cycle 5 to 8 times. Step 4. Stand straight for few seconds. Then jump up slightly and spread both the legs as in the step 3. While taking the arms straight upwards, make a clap with the hands in this posture and come back to normal attention posture with a jump. Repeat this cycle 5 to 8 times. Step 5. Stand straight for few seconds. Then jump up slightly and spread both the legs as in the above steps and spread the arms in front straight at the level of shoulders. After about half a minute, take the arms straight upwards, make a clap in this posture and come back to normal attention posture with a jump. Repeat this cycle 5 to 8 times. You would feel charged up now. Rub your hands upon each other for few seconds, then place the palms on the eyes. After a minute, gently massage the forehead, head, face and neck by hands. Also massage both the arms and legs. Now stand quietly to relax and let the breathing normalize. Proceed for next set of exercises after 2 to 5 minutes. 3.2 Pavan Muktasana. Although the metabolic functions continue to activate our nerves and body tissues, the muscles often become stiff in the absence of adequate mechanical exercise of contraction and expansion. Exercises like the Pavan Muktasana are essential to normalize their flexibility. Regular practice of these asana together with prescribed dietary constraints helps to balance the three doshvat, pitta and kapha, imbalance of which is considered in Ayurveda, the ancient Indian medical science, as the root cause of most diseases and disorders. Specific movements of the joints effectuated in the practice of Pavan Muktasana release the untoward gases, if any, stuck there and thus make the joints and limbs free for natural movements. In today's comfort-driven lifestyle, practice of Pavan Muktasana are crucial for allaying the Vata-related problems of joint pains, rheumatism, sciatica etc. and minimizing the common professional hazards like spondylitis, acidity, etc. Healthy bones are essential for a healthy body. Balanced intake of nutritious food and adoption of adequate exercises are needed for their healthy development. The following Pavan Muktasana are very useful in removing undue pressure and friction between the joints and thereby making the bones and muscles flexible and strong. Even 20 to 30 minutes of this particular yoga exercise every day can keep us fit and dynamic. Doing these asana amounts to gentle stretching and massaging of the spinal cord, which induces soothing effects on the nervous system and endocrine glands as well. 3.2.0 Initial posture. Sit in a relaxed posture with erect spinal cord, neck and head straight and legs outstretched. Place the palms of the hand on the floor, planar base on which you are sitting, almost behind the buttocks. The elbows should be straightened. Lean backwards taking support of the arms. Close the eyes and relax for few minutes. 3.2.1 For toes. Sit in the above described initial posture. Pay attention on your toes. Slowly move the toes of both the feet backward and forward. The ankles should be kept naturally relaxed and stationary. Only the toes should move. Be attentive of your breaths. Inhale while the toes move backward and exhale as they move forward. Repeat it 5 to 10 times. 3.2.2 For ankles. Be seated in the initial posture described in 3.2.0. Slowly move the feet backward and forward by bending only near the ankles. Legs should remain outstretched and the knees should not bend. Heels should also remain stationary and touching the floor. Inhale during backward movement and exhale during forward. Repeat it 5 to 10 times. 3.2.3 For heels. While sitting in the initial posture, join both the legs so that the ankles and thumbs touch each other. Now slowly rotate both the feet, without lifting the heels from the ground or base and without bending the knees, first clockwise then anti-clockwise. Inhale during the clockwise rotation and exhale during anti-clockwise. Repeat it 5 to 10 times. 3.2.4 For feet. Sit in the initial posture, with a gap of few inches, say about 4 to 6 inches, between the legs. Slowly rotate the right feet, heels should be on the base, knees should not bend, first in the clockwise then anti-clockwise direction. Inhale during clockwise and exhale during anti-clockwise rotation. Do so 3 to 5 times. Repeat the exercise with the left feet. 3.2.5 For knees. Relax in the initial posture. Now slowly lift the right leg slightly and bend its knee so that the thigh reaches the chest and heel almost touches the buttock. The left leg should remain straight and on the floor. Hold the right thigh by interlocking the hands under it. Remember, as in the earlier exercises of this sequence of Pavan Muktasana, the back, neck and head should remain straight. Wait in this position for a second. Now slowly straighten this leg. Keep it straight slightly above the floor for a second, then place it back on the floor. Again lift it up and repeat the sequence of bending and straightening 3 to 5 times. In each cycle, inhale while bending and exhale while straightening. Do the same exercise with the left leg. 3.2.6 For waist. Sit with back, neck and head straight. Outstretch the legs on the base, floor, and keep them apart as much as you can do easily without bending the knees. Now straighten your arms on the sides and twist your waist to touch the big toe of left foot with the right hand. Keep the left arm straight towards the back. Both the arms should be stretched in a straight line. Turn the head towards the left and steer the left hand for few seconds. Knees and elbows should not bend. Now slowly twist in the opposite direction to touch the big toe of the right foot by the left hand. Stretch the right arm towards the back so that both the arms are again in straight line. Turn the head right and stare at the right hand for few seconds. This completes one round. Try to complete 3 to 5 rounds. 3.2.7 For the fingers, sit in Sukhasana, erect back and cross-legged posture, or in the initial posture, described in 3.2.0 above. Straighten both the arms in front at shoulder level. Open the hands and stretch the fingers, keeping as much gap between them as possible. After few seconds, close the fist with thumbs inside for couple of seconds. Then open the fists and again stretch the fingers. Repeat 5 to 7 times. 3.2.8 For wrists, remain in the sitting posture as in 3.2.7 above. Straighten the arms in front at shoulder level. Close the fists with thumbs inside. Rotate the wrist clockwise then anti-clockwise for 5 to 7 times. Then open the palms and keep the fingers straightened without any gap in between. Bend the hands from the wrist as though you are pressing by the palms a hypothetical wall in front of you. Fingers should point upwards. After few seconds, bend the hand downwards from the wrist so that the palms face your body and fingers point downwards. Retain this position for few seconds. Again bend the hands upwards and repeat for 5 to 7 times. Remember not to bend your elbows or neck throughout this practice. Also, take care that fingers or knuckle joints do not bend. 3.2.9 For elbows, remain in the sitting posture as in 3.2.7 above. Straighten the arms in front at shoulder level. Keep the palms open and facing up. Bend the arms at the elbows and touch the fingers to the shoulders. Straighten the arms after few seconds. Repeat bending and straightening for 5 to 7 times. Now straighten the arms sideways at shoulder level with hands open and palms facing up. Bend the arms at the elbows and touch the fingers to the shoulders. Again straighten the arms sideways. Repeat bending and straightening for 5 to 7 times. 3.2.10 For shoulders, remain in the sitting posture as in 3.2.7 above. Throughout this exercise, keep your head, neck and back straight. Keep the arms straight sideways at shoulder level. Bend the arms at elbows and touch the fingers to the shoulders. Now, without moving your body, stretch the right elbow forward as much as you can. The left elbow would then move backwards. Return back to normal position after few seconds. Repeat with left elbow moving forward. This completes one round. Do 3 to 5 such rounds. Come back to the original position. Then keep the arms sideways, bend the elbows to put the fingers of the left hand on left shoulder and right on the right. Slowly rotate both the elbows simultaneously to complete a full circle in clockwise direction. Do so 5 to 7 times. Then repeat same number of times with full circular rotation in the anti-clockwise direction. 3.2.11 For chest, take a deep breath to fill the lungs to maximum capacity. This way your chest will be naturally stretched. Hold for a second then slowly exhale, wait for few seconds. Again take the deep breath. Repeat this cycle 5 to 7 times. Placing the hands on the waist from the sides lends good support in this exercise. 3.2.12 For neck, the neck is directly connected to all the nerves. Below the brain, it is the neck through which all nerves pass. Its exercise is a must for everyone, especially those working for long hours on the computers, writing desks or in the kitchen. Sit in Vajrasana or Sukhasana with hands resting on the knees. Close the eyes. Slowly bend the head forward to make the chin touch as much near the lower edge of the neck, which is almost the beginning of the chest, as possible with ease. Now move the head backward as much as you can without straining. Bring it back in normal position. Repeat 3 to 5 times. Now slowly move the head to the right and bend it to attempt to make the right ear touch the right shoulder without lifting the shoulder. Bring the head back in normal position. Then bend it towards the left and try to touch the left ear to the left shoulder without lifting the latter. One round of sideways is complete this way. Practice 3 to 5 rounds. Remain in the same posture with head upright in its normal position. Keep the eyes closed. Slowly rotate the head downwards, to the right, backward and then to the left side in a relaxed circular motion. Repeat 3 to 5 times with such a circular movement in the clockwise direction and 3 to 5 times in the anti-clockwise. Likewise, other exercises, practice this one as well in a relaxed manner. Stop if there is any difficulty. In any case, do not strain any part of the body. Bend the head or neck as much as possible without any pain, heaviness or giddiness. Upon completion, rub the palms on each other vigorously till they warm up. Now place them gently on the closed eyes for few seconds. You may now open the eyes. 3.2.13 for mouth. Open your mouth as wide as you can without any pain. Keep it open for few seconds, then close and relax in its normal state. Again open and so on. Repeat for 3 to 5 times. Then open the mouth and move the jaws from left to right and right to left 3 to 5 times. 3.2.14 for teeth. Close the mouth so that the upper row of teeth stands right above the lower one in order. Front upper teeth on the respective front lower teeth and so on. Slightly press the front side upper teeth on the front side lower teeth. Then do it for the sideways and backside teeth, including the jaws. Repeat each type 5 to 7 times. Needless to say that those wearing artificial denture or having toothache etc. should not attempt this exercise. 3.15 for eyes. 1. Rub the palms vigorously on each other till they become hot. Close the eyes and place the palms on eyelids for few seconds without applying any pressure. Repeat 3 to 5 times. This palming process gives soothing relaxation to the eyes. It may be done several times in a day. For exercising the eye muscles, do the following exercises of movements of eyeballs. 2. Keep the eyes open, look straight in the front. Blink the eyes quickly for 8 to 10 times. Now close the eyes and relax them for half a minute. Open the eyes again for the second round. Repeat this exercise 3 to 5 times. 3. Stand with erect back, neck and head. Focus your eyes on some point, small object, straight in the front. Stare continuously at the object without blinking the eyelids for few seconds, then close the eyes. Repeat 3 to 5 times. Close and relax the eyes for 2 minutes and also do palming once. 4. Stand with your back, neck and head straight. If you want to sit, keep the legs straight in the front. Straighten the right arms on the right side at the shoulder level with fingers folded in a fist and thumb standing up. The left arm should be kept straight with the hand, no fist, on the left knee or thigh. If you are not able to have a peripheral view of the right thumb without moving your head, move the right arm slightly towards your front. Now, move only the eyeballs to constantly glaze at the right thumbs while moving the arms slowly from the side up to the front without bending the elbows. Relax for few seconds. Now slowly move the right arm from the front to the right side while the thumb is kept up. Continue glazing the thumb without moving the head. Repeat this exercise 3 to 5 times. Close and relax the eyes for 2 minutes and also do palming once. Repeat with interchanged rolls of the left and right hands. The above exercise may also be repeated for circular motion. For this, first move straightened right arm from right to the front and then slowly move it in a circle, clockwise or anti-clockwise, as found comfortable, without bending the elbow or the thumb. Do the same 3 to 5 times with a gap of few seconds after each round to close and relax the eyes. Repeat with interchanged rolls of the arms. 3.2.16 For tongue, sit in Vajrasana, that is straight back, neck and head with legs folded inwardly so that both the knees touch each other and the toes are beneath the buttocks, or Sukhasan, straight back, neck and head with cross-legged posture. Outstretch the tongue as much as you can without any pain, pull it back after few seconds. Repeat this forward-backward movement 5 to 7 times. Then draw the tongue out again and move it straight from left to right and right to left for 5 to 7 times. 3.2.17 For cheeks, inflate the cheeks as much as you can and keep them stretched for few seconds. Then release and relax in normal state. Again inflate. Repeat the process 5 to 7 times. 3.2.18 For ears, pull the upper portion of the ears by hands in upward direction, lower portion downward, frontal portion sideways and forward and backside portion backward. Pulling should not be harsh and should not be lull either. It should be modest and such that you feel the stretching. Repeat each exercise of pulling 3 to 5 times. Then rub the palms on each other and place them to cover the ears. Move the palms slowly on the ears to do a soothing massage. 3.2.19 for forehead. Keep the fingers of both the hands on the forehead. With mild pressure, move them slightly towards the ears. Then bring back. Then, gently press the temples by the thumbs and beneath the eyebrows by fingers. Repeat the entire exercise 5 to 7 times. Do a gentle massaging of the upper part of the ears by the thumbs and the neck by both the hands. 3.2.20 for stomach. Stand up with straight back. Keep the legs separated up to a width of about 7 to 10 inches. Inhale slowly and deeply. While exhaling at the same pace, bend downward slightly. Hold the breath out now. Bend the legs slightly on the knees and put the hands on the knees. Your body is in a chair-like posture now. Pull your stomach inward, then bulge it outward. Repeat several times if you can without breathing. Now inhale slowly and stand in normal posture. Breathe normally for a minute. Then again repeat the exercise. This whole cycle should be repeated 3 to 5 times. But do it without straining any part of your body and without any uneasiness while holding the breath out. Note, if one has problem in sitting down, the exercises numbered 3.2.7 to 3.2.20 above may also be done while standing with straight back and neck. Read the precautions carefully. Those having any health problems, including blood pressure, colitis, ulcer, pain of any kind, etc. should do only selected exercises as recommended and taught by an experienced doctor or yoga teacher. In general, it is advisable to relax for few minutes after completing each set of exercises.
Chapter 4. Sequence of Asana in Pragya Yoga. The word Yoga Asana, or Asana in brief, refers to a posture in which one feels relaxed while keeping the body active internally. The rishis, Vedic sages, had keenly observed the sitting and standing postures of different animals, which, in spite of limited faculties, have wonderful physical capabilities that man is deprived of. They had studied the effects of different postures in the laboratory of their own body and developed specific asana which had rejuvenating effects on the entire body-mind-soul system. In this chapter, we highlight the main asana of Pragya Yoga. Adept practice of these every day would help controlled movements for strengthening the nerves, muscles and different organs and regularizing the blood supply in all parts of the body. Not only that, the chanting of the segments of the supreme Vedic mantra, the Gayatri mantra, in specific sequel as directed here, with deep breathing would induce soothing effects in the mind as well. 4.1 General Guidelines. The beginners should first try to master each of the listed asanas one by one separately. Then attempt completing some of them in the desired sequence. Having mastered over the subsequences, one may try the complete sequence of the 16 asanas as described in the following section. Initially it may take extra time, but with gradual practice one will be tuned up and complete round of these asanas will be over only in about 10 minutes. 4.2 The sequence of asanas. Stand erect. Half close the eyes and meditating on the brilliance of Lord Savita, power source of rising sun. For a moment chant Om. Having the faith and inner feeling that the spiritual power of Savita is rejuvenating the body, mind and soul, follow, with each syllable of Gayatri mantra, the sequence of exercises given underneath. All chantings should be made with deep mental engrossment and steady and deep breathing, inhalation or exhalation, as indicated. 1. Tadasana, stand on the toes. Chant Bhu, and raise both the hands upward while inhaling gradually and deeply. Look upwards to the sky. All the 4 actions should take place simultaneously. Hold your breath inside. This exercise helps adequate blood supply in the heart, stretching the spine backwards and thus giving it the much needed rest. This practice instantly removes lethargy. It is also beneficial in the case of weakness of the heart and blood disorders. 2. Padhastasana, chanting, Bhuva. Bring both the hands downward from the posture of Tadasana and exhale at the same slow and consistent pace and bow the head down to touch the knees. Also attempt making the palms touch the floor. Hold your breath out for several seconds and come back to the normal standing posture. Practice of this asana removes gastric trouble and induces vital strength in the Ida, Pingala, and Sushumna Nadi. See the chapter 5 for introduction to the term Nadi. It also helps reducing fat on the tummy and increasing the flexibility of the spinal cord. 3. Vajrasana. With the chant of Swa, place the toes completely on the floor and set the haunches on the feet. Both the legs should be in close contact. Keep the backbone erect and place the palms on the knees. Breathe normally during this posture. The back, neck and head should remain straight. Practicing this asana for few minutes every day is helpful in maintaining good digestion and curing gastric trouble and constipation. It strengthens the muscles around stomach and protects from the problems of hernia. Blood supply to the stomach and uterus is fine-tuned by this practice. 4. Ushtrasana. Now get up slightly from the Vajrasana with a chant of Tat. Stand on your knees with the toes touching the floor and the heels facing backwards. Almost simultaneously, bend backwards to place the palms on the heels from the backside. Inhale deeply while looking upwards. This will inflate your chest. Hold the breath in for few seconds. This asana stretches the abdomen, stomach, chest, and hands in a balanced way. Practice of this asana helps healing the problems of backache and bending of waist or lumbar bones, etc. It makes the heart strong and augments the natural elasticity of the spinal column. This also provides exercise to muscles of the genital organs. It is a prerequisite for higher level yoga practices of activating the Ida, Pingala and Sushumna. 5. Yoga Mudra. Remember, the breath was held inside during the Ushtrasana. With the chanting of Savitu, exhale slowly and sit on your legs as in Vajrasana at the same time. Clench together both the palms at the back and stretch upwardly and place the head on the floor so that the chest and the stomach touch the thighs. Hold the breath out for few seconds. This posture further helps curing severe gastric troubles, setting the metabolic activities right and increasing the appetite. It is recommended in advanced yoga practices of awakening the extrasensory energy nucleus called Manipurit Chakra beneath the navel. 6. Ardha Tadasana. Chanting, Varenyam, inhale deeply. Being seated in the posture of Vajrasana, raise both the arms and eyes upwards. Hold the breath inside and stretch the arms as much as you can without pain. Focus your eyes on the hands. This asana gives a natural and mild traction to the neck and allays the problems, if any, like cervical spondylitis. Likewise, Tadasana, it increases blood supply to the heart and cures weakness of the heart and blood flow related disorders. 7. Shashankasana. Chanting, Bhargo, exhale at the same pace as inhalation in the preceding asana. Simultaneously, sit in the posture of Vajrasana and keep both the arms stretched outwardly in front of the chest. Place the palms on the floor, bend from the waist to make the stomach touch the thighs and the head touch the floor. The arms should remain straight with palms touching the floor. Hold the breath outside for few seconds. This asana eliminates the problem of constipation and soothingly stretches the muscles within and between the anus and buttock regions. It relaxes the sciatica nerves and also helps in regularizing the secretions from the adrenal gland. 8. Bhujangasana. Chanting, Devasya, inhale deeply and pull your waist upwards. Toes and palms should remain at the same place where these were in the previous posture, but now the arms should stand straightened. The knees and thighs should touch the floor. Draw your chest and head upwards and raise the head like a snake's hood. Hold the breath inside and bend the head backwards slightly to stare the sky. This exercise is also recommended as a remedy against cervical spondylitis and several other problems of the spine or back. Apart from providing soothing exercise to the lungs, heart and the backbone, it is especially beneficial for healthy functioning of the liver and kidneys. 9. Tiryak Bhujangasana, left. In the posture of Bhujangasana, exhale slowing. Now inhale and with the chant of Dhimai, turn the neck towards the left and try looking at the heel of right foot. Then hold the breath for few seconds. With exhalation bring the head in the front. 10. Tiryak Bhujangasana, right, chant, Dhiyo, inhale and turn the neck towards the right to see the heel of the left foot. Hold the breath for few seconds and bring the head again in the front with exhalation. Practice of the Tiryak Bhujangasana enhances flexibility of the waist and augments the benefits of the Bhujangasana. 11. Shashankasana, chanting, Yona, return to the posture of step 7. 12. Ardh Tadasana, chanting Prachodayat, Prachodayat, repeat step 6. 13. Utkatasana, after Ardha Tadasana in step 12, exhale slowly. Now chant, Bhu, and with normal breathing sit on the toes. The heels should not touch the floor. Let the calves touch the thighs and knees touch the buttocks. Place both the palms on the knees. Bend the arms on elbows and keep the hands in front of the chest with palms placed on each other in the posture of Namaskar. Back, neck and head should be erect. Breathing should be deep and continued at a consistent pace. This asana gives strength to the calves and improves balance of the body. 14. Padhastasana, chanting, Bhuva, repeat step 2. 15. Tadasana, chanting, Swa, repeat step 1. 16. Coming back to original position, with a deep chant of Om, inhale slowly and deeply, and stand straight with stretched chest. Place the arms upwards and bend the elbows above the shoulders in a posture as though you are holding a heavy rock on the hands. Hold the breath for few seconds with a feeling that your arms, shoulders, chest and whole body are empowered by new vital force. Now close the fists, exhale slowly, bring the arms on the sides and stand straight in the posture of attention. Breathe normal in a relaxed mood. These 16 steps complete one round of the Pragya Yoga asanas. With gradual progress, one may complete 3 to 5 rounds every day. The breathing patterns and chanting of Gayatri Mantra also get perfected with sincerity in daily practice. To a great extent, these also offer the benefits of pranayamas. However, if one has time and will or is advised by the yoga teacher to do so, the practice of pranayam recommended in the following chapter would render great benefits. If one continues to practice the above asana aptly and is also sincere in doing pranayam and Gayatri meditation every day at suitable timings, preferably early morning, he would get the physical, mental and spiritual benefits of Ashtanga Yoga.
Chapter 5. Pranayamas prescribed in Pragya Yoga. The Vedic sages, rishis, have rewarded us with invaluable knowledge for our well-being and mental and spiritual evolution. The yoga science of pranayam is unique of such precious gifts, which offers enormous benefits to our physical as well as subtle bodies by enhancing our pran, also known as vital spiritual energy. Elevated pran enables an otherwise ordinary being carry out extraordinary deeds. A unique feature of all great beings is their above normal level of pran. In normal course, the vital energy we consume via breathing fresh air is just sufficient for sustenance of our physical body. If that is obstructed for few minutes, one feels suffocated and may suffer unconsciousness, coma or even death if the blockage continues longer. As a physical exercise, pranayam is a practice of deep and harmonized breathing. Several kinds of pranayam, including those with meditation and specific kinds of mantra chanting, are described in the yoga literature. Two broad categories of pranayam are 1. Antarang Vyayama Parika, dealing with deep breathing. As the name suggests, these help inner cleansing and introvert concentration of mind along with raising the level of pran. 2. Upasana Parika, Rhythm of the breath is also important here. This category is named so because the pranayam in this class help inner purification as well as tuning of inner emotions and are also useful for seekers of spiritual sadhanas. Duration, mechanism and rhythm of Purak, inhalation, Antah Kumbhak, holding the breath inside, Rechak, exhalation, and Bahya Kumbhak, holding the breath outside, are specific for specific types of pranayam. Apart from these, some meditative practices are also associated with certain, especially Upasana Paraka, pranayamas. In general, the Antarang Vyayama Parak pranayam focus only on the first three phases, Purak, Antah Kumbhak, and Rechak. The durations of time for these should be in the ratio of 1:2, 1. The duration of holding the breath inside should be double of that of inhalation and the time taken for exhalation should be the same as that of inhalation. For more experienced practitioners this ratio is raised to 1:4, 2. The Upasana Parak pranayam are more like devotional practices than exercises. After succeeding in the initial practice of these pranayamas, the sadhak is usually advised to meditate or practice a meditative state of mind while doing the breathing exercise associated with such a pranayam. The duration of time for Purak, Antah Kumbhak, Rechak and Bahya Kumbhak in these pranayam should be generally controlled to remain in the ratio of 2:1, 2:1. In other words, the time and pace and duration of inhalation and exhalation should be the same and the time of holding the breath, in or out, should be half of the former. Both the kinds Antarang Vyayam Parak and Upasana Parak are useful. Likewise for the physical exercise or yogasan, one should not eat anything at least 3 hours before doing a pranayam and at least half an hour after. One should relax for a while to let the breathing get pace normalize between two successive pranayamas. If one wants to practice some pranayam of each category, there should be a gap of at least half an hour between them. Usually it is advised that one type, preferably, Upasana Paraka, of pranayam is practiced in the morning and the other, Antarang Vyayama Paraka, in the evening. The yoga science of pranayam or the science of breathing as it is often called describes 10 nadi, neuronal channels, of the flow of pran. The discipline of yoga science pertaining to these aspects is known as Swa Yoga or Swa Vigyan. Irha, Pingla and Sushumna are most prominent among the nadi referred in Swa Vigyan. These are also called the lunar, Chandra Nadi, solar, Surya Nadi, and absolute currents of pran. Except for few moments throughout the day we naturally breathe only through one nostril. Natural breathing through the left nostril is linked with activation of the Irha, which has cooling, calming, effect on the mind-body system. This pattern of breathing is called Chandra Swar. The Surya Swar natural breathing through the right nostril, is linked with activation of the Pingla, which has warming, stimulating, effect on the mind-body system. Very rarely we naturally breathe through both the nostrils. At this time the pran flows through the Sushumna. Such moments occur at the time of reversal of respiration from left to right or vice versa. Each type of swar has its positive or negative effect depending upon the state and activity of the mind and body. See the books listed in reference numbers 5 and 6 for details. Different kinds of pranayam aim at controlling one or the other of the swar or their rhythm or intensity, or balancing the two swaras. Certain higher level pranayam also aim at the absolute flow of pran through the Sushumna. The pranayam recommended in Pragya Yoga are Upasana Parak. These are effective in enhancing vitality and alertness. These also help purify the nadi and harmonize the swar and thus help maintain mental calm and concentration. These are elementary, as compared to other difficult practices of pranayam and yoga kriyas and can be practiced without difficulty by people of all age groups. These should be practiced in the sequence described below. Siddhasana is regarded best for practicing pranayamas. However, as per one's convenience, one may sit in Sukhasana, cross-legged, or sit or stand in any posture with erect spine, head and neck. The idea in the following sequence of pranayam necessary in Pragya Yoga is to first tune up the rhythm of breathing, then attract and absorb pran and finally let it be distributed for internal cleansing, balancing the swas and energizing healthy activities in the mind-body system. 1. Watch and set the rhythm of breathing. Relax your mind and body and observe your natural and spontaneous breathing. You will feel that it becomes more rhythmic, steady and deep, as your mind frees itself of other thoughts and gets more focused on the breath. Now try to control your breathing pattern so that the time taken for inhalation and exhalation is almost the same. Try to hold the breath inside for some time after inhalation. This duration should be almost half that of inhalation. After exhalation, hold the breath outside, that is, do not inhale, for almost the same time as for holding it in. In other words, in this process you harmonize the time taken for of Purak, Antah Kumbhak, Rechak and Bahya Kumbhak in the ratio of 2:1, 2:1. Once your breath is fine-tuned this way, close your eyes and imagine that the vital force of Pran is internally penetrating every component of the body and eliminating all the dirt, untoward accumulations and infirmities there. This meditative practice of pranayam can also be applied to focus at specific part or organ of the body which is diseased or injured, in order to allay its pain and heal it. 2. Pranakarsana pranayam. Sit in a meditative posture in Sukhasana, or in any other sitting posture with straight back and head. Keep your eyes closed. Place your hands in the lap, with right palm above the left, or on the knees. Your breath should have already stabilized and fine-tuned by practice 1 above. Now, meditate upon the soothing glow of Pran with a feeling that your being, everything around, and the entire world is immersed in an unbounded ocean of Pran. Imagine as though, upon your invocation, the currents of Pran are getting denser, bigger and brighter, having a glow of rising sun around you. Now take a deep breath and try to feel that the currents of Pran are penetrating your body and getting absorbed inside. While holding the breath inside, feel that every cell, every particle of your existence is being purified and energized. With exhaled air, all the impurities, hazardous elements and dullness is being thrown out forever. By holding the breath out, you ensure that the expelled untoward effects are cleansed out from the surroundings too, and again you have fresh currents of Pran to inhale. Your breaths should be deep, slow and quiver-free. Their rhythm and pace should be as set in the step 1 above. With little practice and determination, you would be able to perfect this pranayam. Practice it for 15 to 30 minutes every day. Gradually your vital and spiritual energy levels will rise and help strengthen and illumine your personality and inner self. Sincere practice of this pranayam endows the devout sadhaks with divine potentials. 3. Nadi Shodhan pranayam. Sit in the posture as for above-mentioned pranayamas. Breathe only through the left nostril. The rhythm and pace of inhalation, retaining the breath internally, exhalation, and retaining it out should also be the same, in the ratio of 2:1, 2:1. Breathing should also be deep, slow and consistent. The only difference from what you practiced in step 1 above is that you are now breathing only through the left nostril. After 3 complete respirations, repeat the cycle in the same manner by breathing through only the right nostril 3 times. After this, the next 3 breaths should be inhaled through both the nostrils and exhaled through the mouth. This way, in 9 consecutive breaths, first 3 through the left nostril, next 3 through the right and last 3 inhaled through both and exhaled through the mouth, make 1 round of Nadi Shodhan pranayam. On an average 3 such rounds should be completed. Meditative feeling should be in tune with the nature of the respective swaras. Attempt to feel that after inhalation through the left nostril, the Ira Nadi gets stimulated and induces a cooling effect. Imagining the glow of moonlight during Antah Kumbhak would increase this soothing feel. With exhalation, all the existing heat, of unnecessary excitations, anger and jealous etc., is uprooted and is thrown out during Bahya Kumbhak. For the second phase, the meditative perception, imagination should correspond to that of activation of Pingla Nadi feel of energetic flow during inhalation, which rejuvenates vital capacities of the bioenergy centers during Antah Kumbhak. Imagination on rising sun's glow in this state augments this feeling of illumination and boosting. The darkness and dullness assimilated inside is eliminated during exhalation and the energy stimulated inside is let absorbed during Bahya Kumbhak for creative potentials. In the final phase, inhalation through both the nostrils is to balance the lunar and solar impulses to softly vibrate the Sushumna Nadi, A feeling of peace during Antah Kumbhak and that of removing all negativity by exhalation through mouth is necessary for best effects. Bahya Kumbhak of this phase should be accompanied by a calm feeling of liberation. Thorough practice of this pranayam is a prerequisite for all higher level yoga, including Kundalini and spiritual endeavors.